Today's meditation comes from Genesis chapter 11 verse 1 to 9. After the flood, the descendants of Noah were increasing it. They were very faithful to the God early days. Then later on, they started doing idol worship. They forgot about the living God, and the people were scattering here and there. Nimrod, the grandson of Noah, decided he wanted to bring all of them together. He wanted to be great leader on this earth. So that is why Nimrod said, we all will unite and will build the great city Tower of Babel. So he motivated everybody. Everybody was very much interested to build the Tower of Babel. Do you think Nimrod doesn't know about how God has given the promise? Already God gave the promise. I'm not going to destroy this earth through the flood anymore. He has given the assurance. So after the flood, Noah lived 350 long years. Shem lived 500 long years. But Nimrod knows exactly what happened during the flood. But still, his name should be glorified. He wanted to be the great leader on this earth. So everybody should respect it. So that is the reason all of them, they started unitedly building the great tower. So this tower was almost reaching to the sky. The top person cannot able to communicate with the person who was there in the basement. So that is why they were middle, some persons were there, they are communicating, whether the material or something, they were supplying it. So all the people were working together. So their main motive is the other nation should know what they have done it. The next generations should know what great things we have done. Their name wanted to be glorified. They started doing as their idols and they're praising their gods. But they forgot about the living God. Some of them, they were thinking because the God destroyed this earthly planet, the living God is not the right person. They have some opinion about the living God. If anything we are not faithful, He is going to destroy it. So that is what their opinion. Some community, some kind of people, they were thinking because this happened, natural calamity. Then everybody's intention is they wanted to be escape in case if again God brings the flood. So now my dear believers, we need to learn very, very important lessons. Nimrod and his team, they rebelled against the God. Because they wanted to continue the same kind of sin, even if God brings us some kind of the calamities. If God brings the flood also. So that means they wanted to be on the safe side. They can do all kind of wicked things, no punishment should come upon them. This is their intention. They did not realize why the God brought the flood during his grandfather time. Because they were not faithful to the God. They were doing all kind of wicked things. That is the reason God brought the flood. They are not realizing that. But here their intention is rebel against the God. Their name should be glorified. Sometimes we can see the people might be achieved great things. People might be built a lot of constructions under their leaderships. under their authority. We need to remember that God has given the privilege for you. He should glorify His name. So most of us, we have this problem. Whenever we achieve something, whenever we have done the great things, all of us, we have I problem. We say, I did these things. But will you be able to do without God's help? Never ever possible. My dear believers, if you achieve something in your life, praise God. Praise God for that. When Solomon built the temple, everybody, they were able to go and worship and praise and glorify His name. As the days passed, the people were saying, this is a Solomon temple. Instead of saying God's temple, they're saying Solomon temple. The pride entered into his heart also. Now similarly, the people, instead of building the Tower of Babel, they should have built the God's temple. All together they should have gone and worshipped to the God. Then God's name will be glorified. So that is why the God brought the lightning from the heaven. The top of the tower was collapsed. God brought the confusion. They were not able to understand one another language. They were not able to communicate with one another. So this miscommunication brought the confusion among themselves. Those who were speaking one language, they become the one team. Those who were speaking other language, they become the one team. So they don't have the good understanding and they fought among themselves. The Tower of Babel was incomplete. Now, my dear believers, when we try to do anything against the gods, when we try to do against the God's institution, God is not going to spare. The God will bring the punishment upon you and your families. 1 John chapter 2 verse 16 says, for all that is in the world that has of flesh, the lust of the eyes and the pride of the life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Now, the verse says clearly, if anything you do, it is not from the Father. Lust of the eyes, it is not from the Father. It is from the world. Who is ruling this world? Satan. If you are giving the priority for worldly things, the world is going to be happy, not the God. With this thought, my dear believers, whatever we achieve, we need to praise God, not our name. May God bless all of us.